Welcome back to another 4-week small group series at St. Martin's. We are trying something a little different this time around. In the past, we have studied one book of the Bible over a month, but this time I thought we might do something a little different and consider one idea and look at 4 New Testament passages that relate to this one idea. Many of us have read articles stating that the church is in decline or even dying. Some of the bolder reporters have a countdown clock on when this or that denomination will close shop. There is no doubt the church is in a major time of transition. In the Southern Hemisphere, the church is in a season of tremendous growth, while many of the churches in the North are struggling to keep their doors open. But a time of transition doesn't equate to death. In fact, I believe we are living in a time of immense opportunity if we are willing to step out in faith to what God may be inviting us into. But to know what that invitation is, we really need to understand the core of who we are. And so, what is the church? What does it mean to be the church? For the early Christians, the church was an extension of the family. It was a community that cared for one another, supported its members in times of distress, and looked after the most vulnerable in its midst. I will never forget a priest at a workshop I was attending blatantly said, "Don't call the church a family. Families are messed up, they have a lot of baggage, and it creeps me out when you associate the church with something like that." Well, I hate to say it, but the Bible is filled with stories of God working through dysfunctional families, and it doesn't take long when looking at the church to know that it can be messed up as well and have lots of baggage like any family. I grew up in a church that loved me, and I honestly considered many of the members to be my extended family. But I also know that that is not the case for everyone. With that said, you have found yourself in a church small group. So there is something about the church that has brought you to this place. Maybe you're longing for community to support you in your life. Perhaps you are looking for a safe place to ask honest questions about God, the Bible, or circumstances you are experiencing in life right now. If you can't do that at the church, then something has gone terribly wrong. This is the household of God. Then we should be a place of refuge that people can run toward rather than something they drive by without even looking our way. If this is the place where you find meaning and purpose and love within the community that is rooted in the gospel, then you might as well say you have found a home. A lot of what we'll be studying over the next 4 weeks is inspired by the work of an author and priest by the name of Mark Clavier. Our first lesson is based on a quote from one of his books. He writes, "Evangelism is the act of convincing people to move home. As in Ephesians 2, they are invited to settle into God's homeland, the church, and to become resident aliens to the world." And so, as you read through Ephesians 2, consider how we were once separated from God, but because of Jesus and His work on the cross and His mighty resurrection, we are now joined to Him through our baptism. We are now citizens of His kingdom, members of His household. What an amazing gift to everyone, but especially to those who have never felt like they have had a home or a family. Our work, the invitation God has for us, just may be to convince others to come back home.